YBN Almighty J, someone you probably ain't thought about in years. And at one point, he was going crazy with Nahmir, but lately he barely been seen. So where is bro? YBN Almighty J, originally from Texas, and growing up, he was on the game heavy. And I'm talking about this all the way back in 2014. So Jay on GTA every day. And one of the people he ended up meeting on the game was somebody we know well today, YBN Nahmir. And at first, they wasn't a group of rappers, they was just playing the game. YBN was like a clan on the game, and they was just doing their thing, making videos, skits, rapping on the game, all that. But 2015 is where everything would change. After freestyling on the game for a while, they eventually decided to record some actual music. And so Nahmir and Jay dropped their first song, Hood Mentality. And this one song was when they started to go away from the game and more into music. But this year was sad. One of their members ended up passing away from a heart attack. But they ended up getting past that, and over these next few years, their lives would start to change. They kept on rapping, and eventually Nahmir dropped a song that would change all their lives. September 18th, Nahmir dropped the song we all know a little too well, Rubbing Out the Paint, and it blew up. This song was a hit, and everybody knew. You heard it everywhere. And with all the money Nahmir was making off this song, he decided to make a move, a big move. Nahmir was like, look, I gotta go to LA. And so he moved to LA, but it wasn't just him. He brought the whole YBN with him. And this was the first time they met in person after being friends for years online. And it ain't take Jay long for him to get in the music game just like Nahmir. Cause just a few months after Rubbing Out the Paint, guess who dropped their debut single? Jay with his song Chopsticks. But his introduction to the game came with a lot of controversy. But just a few months after getting in the game, he was already in a relationship with somebody who had a name. At the time, 28-year-old Black China. Around this time period was when she had just broke up with Rob Kardashian and ended up getting with the 18-year-old Almighty J at that time. And around February 2018, they were seen together all the time, and eventually they came out and told the world they was together. And it ain't take long for these two to get into some trouble, because just a month after being together, Rich the Kid's wife got online talking crazy, basically saying he cheated on her with all these different females in the game, and Black China was one of them. And that her and Jay whole relationship was just capped for the internet. Then to make it all worse, Rich the Kid wife took his IG account and put everything on blast. Married but keep messing with at Miracle Watts, talking down to Tory Bricks and India Love. She down as long as you keep it real from the start. And oh, at Black China been getting F by Rich too. At YBN Almighty J was just a cover up. Then not too long after that, in April, they decided to go out on a date at Six Flags. And while they was there, hell broke loose. Videos came out showing Black China getting a fighting, and all people seen was Jay and security trying to break the fight up. And at first, nobody knew what was going on until she came out giving a statement. Being famous is hard enough, dealing with scrutiny, but when somebody feel comfortable to come touch your child, it's a whole other story. Basically, what went down was some girl came up to them and she ended up touching Black China kid hand, and China ain't like that. So she told her, don't touch my kid. And then it eventually went from a little argument to a full-on fight. Then the girl who originally touched China Kid came out trying to say Jay was hitting on her while they was fighting. But nothing ever came of this situation. This nigga Jay was moving real fast. Just a couple days after this, he got on IG proposing to Black China. He got online basically asking her to marry him. But that didn't even turn out well, because a month after this, Jay came out saying they broke up. But life keep getting hectic for bro. Just a month after breaking up with her. And keep in mind, at this point, he ain't even been in the game for a year yet. Jay only been popping for a few months, but he was out in LA. And you know, like I done said in other videos, that's a grimy place to be. But he was in LA and ended up getting on IG Live, claiming somebody snatched his chain. And he was driving the car, showing his hand all bleeding, face messed up. Like, you know what I mean? They was getting down.
Whoever just took my chain on Fairfax, post it. Hoes. Post it. Put it on your Instagram right now. Post it. It's hoes. You got guns that can't shoot.
Then, after taking his chain, they did what people do best on the internet. Self-snitch.
Come get this back. Come get your back. He had it on him, though. He had it on him. Gary shoot him.
And even though he did take this L, he was out the way for a few months. And it was looking good for Jay until February 2019 came around. He was out recording with the artist Skinny from the 9, somebody I talked about in one of my other videos. And while Skinny was in the house, Almighty J and his boys ran in the car Skinny was in and took everything. They took a $40,000 chain, 20K Rolex, and 20 in cash. But after the two went back and forth for a minute, them charges ended up getting dropped. Skinny was basically saying, look, I ain't no rat, I'm not snitching. He just got his stuff took and he trying to be a street nigga. So he was like, oh, I ain't need snitching. Even though it was on camera and you seen the niggas take everything out the car. Anyways, Jay Karma came right back at him. But before I tell you what happened, shout out to bro right here. He been asking me to put these Cheetos in the background for months, and I done finally got to it. And make sure you join the Reddit. Give me video ideas, all that. But a few weeks after robbing Skinny, he was out of New York and hit up Saks Fifth. And he was in there doing his thing and everything was cool until Lil TJ and his boys showed up. And I guess the energy wasn't right, so they got to arguing and eventually turned into more than just an argument. They started fighting. They got to hitting right outside the Saks Fifth, and eventually the fight did get broke up. But later on, Jay was still in New York and they caught bro lacking in the street. They seen him walking by himself, so they ran down on him. They beat him and robbed him for everything he had. When I say they beat that boy, I'm talking about they did him crazy. They were kicking him in the face, stomping on him, all that. Then after taking his chain, they hopped on IG, and like the self-snitches they was, they started flexing it.
You see the Y, you see the B, you see the N.
Yo, that's crazy, yo.
Then after they took the chain, they started trolling, bro. They said Black China, his ex that he was trying to marry, hit him up and was like, look, I'm trying to get this chain off you for 20,000, but they ain't let her. They came out saying, I told her, you can have this. It ain't worth no 20,000. She on some like, it's besides the point. I got problems with him. I'm the one who bought him the chain. So honestly speaking, the chain is going back to Black China. She a good girl. But Jay had people on his side after it happened. Jay Prince was online telling all the New York goons to find out who took Jay chain and get it back. 2020, he ain't really getting nothing, but 2021 was when his name got back in the media. So over time, the whole YBN started to split apart. Corday, Nahmir, Jay, all of them, they started to, distance themselves a little bit. But the world ain't know why until this one day. Jay got online and made a post accusing his manager / lawyer, whatever you want to call it, behind the reason YBN broke up. James a fraud. He signed niggas to janky deals and mess them over. Nobody know nothing about what we go through on a daily basis. Ben signed the bro, cause we cover for him. I'm done with this. But Jay, he kept going. Trademarking the YBN name behind our back. Assigned me a lawyer he used to be engaged with without telling me. Shaking my head. Took advantage of some kids. He not wrong. They was kids when they first signed. Pretty much, they was in a bad deal. And their manager put him in a situation where the whole collective was trademarked by somebody outside the group. None of them had ownership to YBN. It was him. But a few months later, he was in the media once again. Remember the rapper he robbed a few years back? Skinny from the 9. Well, leading up to this moment, they was starting to go back and forth. And Skinny was on bad timing. He at him and was basically like, look, we been doing all this for years. We got a scrap. Come run the ones with me. You done robbed from me. You done stole from me. You done did all this. We gotta fight. And later on during the same month, somehow they ended up at the same spot. And you can guess exactly what went down. They got the scrap and they ran a little 60 and Jay ended up putting the beats on bro. He put the beats on him so bad he got on Twitter and started clowning bro. Y'all be on the internet with all that tough stuff till they come see me in person. At Skinny from the 9. Dropped them twice. No jumping, no none of that. And this was the last time Jay was really in some controversy. Lately, he just been streaming a lot and dropping some songs every once in a while and really just doing what he want and staying out the way. Not fighting rappers no more. But on that topic, a few months back, I made a video on Skinny from the 9, really getting into detail on Nate beef, and that vid is on screen right now.